Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Francis Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time helping you magnify your miracles. Today, I'm going to be sharing a personal story of how I was able to get myself back in alignment with the law of attraction and how you can do it too. And I think one of the best ways we learn is from hearing other people's stories. Don't you agree? When you hear somebody's story about how did they do it, it helps you to know that you can do it too, and to maybe even, take a couple of tips from their journey and apply it to yourself. And that's my intention for you today, so that you get something that you can use to really help you begin to get back in alignment and magnify those miracles. But before we get into all of that, let's take a deep breath together. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything you no longer need. And if you're driving, please keep your eyes on the road. But as we bring our awareness to our breath, we can feel ourselves starting to become aware of what I love to call the divine presence, that energy that is always here when we slow down enough to become aware of it. So knowing that whatever it is that you need to hear today to help you magnify your miracles, that's exactly what you're going to hear. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude. And we can begin. All right, my friend. Well, welcome once back. Welcome once again back to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. And I'm so happy to share this story with you because this is what I do for a living, magnify miracles. And I thought this was miraculous for myself. And it just goes to show that when we operate in the realm of the laws of the universe, things have to shift. They have to. And now you're probably asking, what is she talking about? So I'm going to share with you my own journey. So let's see, I'm recording this in August of 2023. So about 3 episodes ago, so that's probably episode 191. I think it was 191. Yeah, I think it's episode 191. I had on my lovely client, Emma Stratton, and she shared her 7-figure miracle story. Now, as you know, she had been on before and had shared her $10,000 miracle. And then over the last couple of years, we continued to work together, and now she got up to 7 figures. And how she did it was quite amazing. And so I shared some of this presentation that she had done, and she invited me to be on there with her and some of that story. Well, here's the funny thing that had happened is as I was listening, I was editing it and I was listening to her story again. I started to go, wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's amazing. I need to do this because I do this for everybody else, right? I help other people learn how they're wired for success. Once you know that, then you learn how to listen to that energy and you take care of yourself. And this is part of what I do when I'm working with people. I help you learn A, how you're wired, and B, how to take care of your energy so that you can stay in alignment. Well, what had happened for me was over this last year or so, actually, even maybe a year and a half. Oh, I've had so much stuff going on with my extended family and health issues for people and just a lot of stuff. And I have been spending a lot more time with my family and my extended family than I probably ever have really in my adult life. And bless them, I love everybody, but they're just wired differently than I am. And I started kind of falling back into the consciousness I was in when I was young and growing up. And I'm curious if any of you have ever had that happen where maybe you're around your family at somebody's birthday or it's the holidays or whatever it is, and you kind of find your consciousness reverting back to maybe how you were when you were, oh, I don't know, 10 or something like that, when you're in that energy and you're just kind of taking it all in. So I noticed that, I'm usually kind of like magnifying miracles going along, and things started to feel a little bit hard in this last year. And I was like, what is this energy? This is really not my energy. So when I was listening to Emma, I said, how can I apply this? Now, if you haven't listened to that episode, she broke down what she saw were the 3 things that we did together. The first thing was learning how she was wired for success. Like, what is her natural way of being successful? The second thing was how to listen to her energy. And the third thing was prioritizing her energy, prioritizing feeling good and taking care of herself in the way that worked for her. So as I was editing and I was like, was jotting those things down, I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely what we did. And, really good points. And because I'm doing this all day for everybody else, I sometimes forget that to apply this to myself and how can I do this for myself? So as I was listening to it, I was like, I need to apply this to myself. Now, I had done my own sacred life purpose session for myself years ago. And I'm just going to be really honest with you. It is hard to read yourself. It's hard to read your own energy. It's hard to do an intuitive session for it's just hard. I have been able to develop over time the ability to do it to some extent, but it's really not easy. And I've been doing this for a long time. And I don't know that we're technically supposed to be doing this because as we're getting information, we also have our own inner resistance to whatever it might be. The ego might say, no, I don't want to know. Like it's just challenging, which is why I always recommend find somebody that you really trust, that you really love, that you can work with, even if it's like a once a year thing that you do. Like I connect with my mentor, Reverend Jane Howard Feldman, and I do a birthday reading with her. And I just kind of get the energy of the year, not in a predictive kind of way, like this has to happen, but more of like, what's the cosmic forecast? Like, what do I want to, kind of be in the energy of? And then what do I want to do to take that information and then start creating what I really want to be creating? I recommend you have somebody that you really trust when you do that. And that's a big piece of the work that I do when I'm working with people is sacred life purpose. So I help them start to learn about their energy, and usually a couple of sessions in for people that are doing a mentoring program with me. For the fourth or fifth session, I'll do what I call a sacred life purpose session. And it's so helpful because it tells you what your soul came here to embody, to experience, and to express. What your soul came here to embody, experience, and express. And you've been doing this from day one. This is not about your job or your career, although that can be connected to it. This is what your soul came here to experience. Why is it here? Why did it decide to take a body and walk around on the planet? Didn't have to do that. Why did it decide to do that? Well, that tells you a big piece of how you're wired. And then it goes on from there. We go to the second chakra. We look at your archetypes, and that shows more of like your personality and how you express this beautiful energy that you came here to express. Then we take a look at who's on your team. That's in your third chakra. Your deep heart's desire, that's in your heart chakra. Throat chakra is what's the best way for you to express this energy. Your third eye is going to show us what's the big picture. And then the crown chakra is going to say, what is it that you need to let go of to be able to live this beautiful vision that your soul had for you? I love doing sacred life purpose sessions. They're awesome because they're just so rich with information. So I tried to do this for myself. I put my phone down and tried to get myself in the space and tried to read my own chakras. And I put my phone down to record myself and listen. And as I was doing it, this is years and years ago, and I got to my root chakra, I was like, okay, I'm here. And I could feel what I was feeling. And my interpretation of it was peace. I'm like, oh, I'm here on the peace vibration. Okay. And it kind of made sense because back in the day when I used to be a body worker and a massage therapist, people would say to me all the time, oh, when I just come into the room, even before you start the massage, I just feel peaceful. And people would often tell me they feel peaceful in my energy in general. So it's like, okay, that could be the case. But what I learned is doing so many of these sacred life purpose sessions over the years, I noticed a pattern. And this is a clue for you. So you may or may not ever have the ability to have a sacred life purpose session with me. If you want to have one, just reach out to me. We can see if we can get you scheduled for that. But I noticed that a clue is what your soul came here to embody, to experience, to express is usually the opposite of what you were born into. And that's the part that didn't quite make sense to me. I'm like, I wasn't really born into the opposite energy of peace. I mean, kinda, but it wasn't something that like really rang a bell for me. And one of the things that you want to know about your insight, your intuition, is it needs to click. You don't want to just be like, yeah, I guess kind of. No, that means that you haven't really gotten what you needed to get from that message. You want a message or something that goes ding on the inside that you're like, oh, that's totally it. And then so the piece was kind of like, yeah, okay, kind of. Um, but it didn't really move me forward in any kind of way as I saw it happening with my clients. So as I was doing this editing, and I was like, all right, I'm going to listen again. And I did my favorite thing to do, which is to journal to my own higher self. And I was like, higher self, how can I apply what Emma did to myself? How can I, since I don't have somebody that is a coach like me. I mean, I have coaches, I have healers, I have channel, I have all these people, but I don't have anybody like me that does all of those things. That's like a coach and a mentor and somebody that can channel and someone that can work with my energy and someone that can connect with Mother Mary. Like, I don't know anybody that does that. And I really wanted somebody that does all that. So I said, I'm just going to ask my higher self because my higher self is me. So let me check in with that part of myself. So I journaled. And my higher self said to me, Frances, your path is an effortless path. You're here on the energy of ease and success. And as I felt that, I was like, oh my God, that is the truth. And then about 5 seconds after I had that realization, I had, the voice of fear in my ego pop up and being like, no, 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 that means you're lazy. That means you're lazy. And, I was often told when I was little, you're lazy. So I have this fear of like, uh-oh, am I lazy? So I would make my life, more complicated, but I'm actually here in this energy of effortless. Now, effortless meaning the things that come naturally to me. Music comes naturally to me. Talking comes naturally to me. Um, Channeling comes naturally to me. Prayers come naturally. Like everything in my life that I love doing is very effortless for me. That doesn't mean I don't have to show up and record the podcast and press record and all that. It doesn't mean that. It means that my life path is not about pushing a rock uphill. But I was born into a family that's what we did is we pushed rocks uphill. My mom, God bless my mom, love her so much. My mom modeled for me struggle and hardship. That's what she modeled for me. Now, I don't know that my mom is actually wired for struggle and hardship. My mom was really smart and really creative, but my mom had a hard life. And so hardship and struggle was what imprinted in my subconscious mind of like, life is hard, life is struggle, you got to struggle. That's the way it goes. And I had adopted that. Now, in the course of my own process and my own spiritual development, I had let go of a lot of that, but it was still kind of there. And then when I started spending a lot of time with my family, guess what? I started vibrating at the level that many of them are vibrating at, which is life is hard, it's a struggle, that type of thing. And when I realized that, I was like, wait a minute, and I'm laughing because I can hear my wife's voice in my head. And she would say to me, sweetie, you make things a lot harder than they need to be. And she's right. I tend to like complicate things. Well, why do I do that? I do that because some things come to me in a very easy way, but my subconscious mind won't allow me to let it be easy. So it starts making things complicated. It's kind of like when you read in the Old Testament that the Israelites were in the desert. If they had just gone directly, it would have taken them like 6 weeks. And instead it took them 40 years. It's that kind of consciousness of like making your life complicated. And I could feel it. And I'm like, that's my alignment. That's where I was out of alignment, is I wasn't honoring the way that I was wired. I was trying to be doing something from struggle or hardship or life is hard, and I'm not wired that way. I am wired to like, let it be easy. I'm wired to show up, let it come through me. I'm wired for this sense of ease and success. And I put my hand on my heart and I was like, oh, spirit, this is the truth. I am wired for ease and success. Mine is the effortless path. That's me. And you know what happened is I wasn't trying to make it be. I wasn't like, I'm affirming and trying to believe something. I felt it. I was like, this is how I am. I'm wired for this. I'm wired for ease. And from that point, I let go of everything I was quote unquote trying to do. I let go of the trying. I let go of the things that felt like out of alignment with ease. It's like, nope, not going to do that. Within 24 hours. This is how powerful this alignment with law of attraction is. Law of attraction can only bring to you what you are emanating. We don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. So I was attracting struggle, and previous to that, I hadn't been, it wasn't in the struggle. Things were like really flowing. So when I said, okay, I'm going to accept this about myself. I am wired for ease and success. Even just saying it makes me happy. Within 24 hours, without me doing anything other than owning that and being like, yep, I'm wired for ease and success, and letting go of all the things that felt hard. Someone scheduled a miracle meeting with me, found me somewhere. Maybe it was a podcast listener. Somebody signed up for an Ask Your Energy session, which I love doing, helping people talk to their energy and find out what their energy wants to tell me. And I got a referral from somebody. 3 things within 24 hours. Is that amazing? It's amazing for me. I didn't have that kind of energy coming into my life in a concentrated way like that in a while. I would get, still had stuff going on, but boom, boom, boom. And I knew it was like, because I said, all right, my podcast is out there. My videos are on YouTube. I call it Our Lady of Spotify. I was like, bring whoever wants to work with me, whoever I can bless and who's going to bless me, bring those people to me. And boom, boom, boom. Miracle meeting, Ask Your Energy session, and boom, somebody's sending me a referral. That's what happens when you get back in alignment with yourself and how you're wired. And that automatically puts you back in alignment with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is like gravity. It is always working. And so if you're attracting to you things that you're not wanting in your life, it's not the law of attraction's fault. It's aligning with where you are. We want to look at how you're wired. What's going on with you? Are you in the energy that you really want to have more of? So when I relaxed and I was like, yeah, I'm owning this. I'm relaxing, letting things come to me. There's so many other things that happened, synchronicities that happened, and stumbling upon miraculous events that I can tell you about at a future time, which I will tell you about. But more than I can do in this podcast. But so the question then becomes, because I don't want to leave you hanging there and being like, well, lucky for you, Reverend Francis. No, I don't want to do that. I want to give you something. So when I said to myself, oh, I'm wired for ease and success, I basically decided, okay? I basically decided that. And you can do this too. So if you want to work with me, you're welcome to schedule a miracle meeting with me. I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can just go to francisfaden.com/miracle meeting. If you want to find out what it's like to work with me over time, to really learn how to work with your energy, you are welcome to do that. If you want to just like do one appointment with me, ask your energy, you want to find out what your energy wants you to know, you're welcome to do that. Go to my website, look at the work with me page. You're welcome to do that as well. But here's what you also can do is if when I say these words, I'm wired for ease and success, does that resonate with you? Are you like, I want to be wired for ease and success? Or I want to be wired for ease and wealth? Or I want to be wired for success and fun? There's no wrong way to do it. How do you want to declare that you're wired? Now, I believe that you already know how you're wired. You already know. And then we need to act in alignment with that. So I was talking to a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and we were having this conversation. She's not a client of mine. She's a friend. And I said, so how do you think you're wired? And she thought about it and she thought about it. We tossed around some ideas. And then all of a sudden she said, I'm wired for love. I said, I know you are. You're completely wired for love. Your whole business is based on helping people go from fear to love. That's what you do. She's like, yeah. And I said, so now how can we get you in alignment with being in that energy in your business all the time? That's what had happened with my client, Emma. This happens with all of my clients, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You don't have to be, but it's so easy to see if you're an entrepreneur that your business is going to reflect your energy. So how are you wired? And then honor how you're wired and live from that place in what you're doing. If you're wired for love, you need to be in the energy of love. If you're wired for fun, you need to be doing things that for you feel fun. And you can decide, even if nobody reads your energy and says anything, you can say to yourself, I'm wired for, and fill in the blank. I would love to hear how you're wired. You know, put your comment down below. I'd love to hear if you really just take a moment, and put your hand on your heart and check in with yourself and ask yourself, how am I wired? How am I wired? It'll come. And don't overthink it. Just let yourself go with whatever that is. And then see how it plays out. And how you'll know is you'll get that, you'll get that click. Like for me, the peace thing felt good, but did it go zing? Did it feel like that's the truth? Mm-mm. Part of the reason that I probably wasn't ready to know that that was the truth is I had that kind of inner bully voice telling me, easy. Oh, you're just lazy. You're looking for the easy way out. And that made me go, oh, I don't want to do that. I better keep putting out more energy. And the truth is, mine is the effortless path. Mine is the path of showing up and allowing spirit to just come on through me. That's the way that I'm wired. And so I'm looking at how can I expand that? How can I allow myself to have my life be one of ease and joy and success, the way that I'm wired, the way that matters for me? Now, ease might look different for me than it looks for you, and that's okay. But however you're wired, I really want you to honor that. So, one more thing I want to share with you. So, remember the three things that we said in the beginning were, how are you wired? Learn how you're wired. Learn how to listen to that. How do I listen to my energy? And then how do I prioritize my energy? Those are the three things. I want you to think about that for yourself is, how am I wired? Just decide. Decide I want to be wired this way. I want to be wired for fun or creativity or whatever it is. Okay. Chances are it's the opposite of the family you were born into. So I was born into that hardship and struggle. And so the opposite of that is ease and success. Take a look at your family and flip it over. It's like if you were born into a family where, everybody was arguing all the time, then maybe you were here on the energy of peace. Or if you're born into a family that had to work hard, maybe then you are in the energy of fun. I don't know. But look at that. And then the next question is, how can I learn how to hear and work with my own energy? It's part of what I do when I'm working with people. We work over time so that you can learn that. And then the third thing is, how can I prioritize that? How can I prioritize fun if that's how you're wired? How can I prioritize ease for me? I'm constantly asking myself, what's the simplest way I can do this? What's the simplest way? What's the easiest way to go from here to here? It's my new mantra. And then you want to live that way, and you might have some people that are going to challenge you because they're used to the old way, but you get to honor yourself the way that you are. Now, I would love to know if this is helpful for you. Is it helpful for you to hear my story? Is it helpful for you to hear somebody's story? I'm passionate about, people sharing their stories, and I might do something around putting some form around a way for us to really start to share our stories. Maybe we're going to write our stories. I don't know 100%, but I'd love to know from you, how do you feel about those 3 points? And what do you think about hearing stories, and specifically other people's stories of how it applies to you? That's my own curiosity. If you want to leave me a comment, I would love to know your thoughts about it. In the meantime, my friend, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. If you enjoyed this and you're watching it on YouTube, please subscribe. You can also subscribe to the podcast itself. If you can leave me a review for the podcast, that would be so helpful. But mostly share it with people, share it with anybody that you know, and help get the word out there. That I'll just be so, so grateful if you could do that. I'm already so grateful and so appreciative of you. You are just the best. And I'm so grateful that we get to spend this time together. Remember, my friend, your miracle is already here. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.